It got so bad to the point to where I was staring at the wrong end of a pistol, right? So I wanted to end it. We always said, hey, I'm going to go as hard as I can, and you're going to have to kill me if that's what's going to get me to quit. You'll have to kill me. I broke my pelvis, the pubic rami bone, Thursday before Hell Week. I went and got an x-ray, and sure enough, man, pubic rami bone was the little loops underneath your pelvis. It was snapped in half. I looked at the doc, and he goes, hey, man, this can go one of two ways. You can stop, or we can go a different route.
What's one habit that you teach that people can do tactically day to day, or 5 minutes or less, something like that?
Find something that puts you a little bit out of the comfort zone and start small, and then progress and work yourself to harder and harder things. You have emotions for a reason, because you're supposed to be able to use them, but you can't let them control you. You have to be able to control them.
When things are getting hairy, whether it's business or in life, what do you do to stay calm?
All right, welcome back to another amazing episode of The Amazing Marketing Show. Today we have a 26, almost 27-year military vet from the SEALs and the Marines. And Tommy Richardson is the founder of Divine Savagery, a resilience and leadership platform where he distills the lessons he learns in all these crazy situations. And he teaches how you guys can apply it to your marketing, to your business life, to your home life, and everyday life. Now, before we get to Tommy, I want to introduce my co-host, as always, the amazing Chris Gray. Chris, what's going on?
Dimitri, what up?
I am living the dream and excited to introduce Tommy Richardson. Tommy, welcome to the show, and tell us about you.
Oh, appreciate it. Thanks. Oh, the whole tell us about you thing. I like it when other people do the intro, man, because you do it yourself. You're like, I'm just going to butcher it and sound horrible. But no, man, just grew up Texas boy, and broken, bullied, beaten when I was a kid, and learned a little bit of resilience out of that, and followed a little bit of what was going on in the family, and went into the Marines, and then decided to switch gears, went to the SEAL teams, and then founded my own business, man. And we're just rocking and rolling, taking everything that I've learned from the military and throwing it back out at the public, man, and hoping that they'll receive a little bit of it, and using the saving grace of Jesus that brought me through all of it, man, to be able to give that to folks too.
Oh man, a fellow Texas boy. I love this. This is going to be fun.
All right.
Tommy, you got a hell of a background.
Thanks, man.
And the thing I respect about military in general, and then in special forces, the few that I've had the opportunity to be around, there is a mental fortitude that is not common. There's a mental toughness that is not common. And so my question to you then, Tommy, is, for the general person out there, what do most people get wrong when it comes to mental toughness?
They quit. Plain and simple. When things get hard, they back down. One of the things that I talk to people is be someone that runs towards the gunfire, right? And we're lacking a lot of that, especially in today's society, really with the men folk, So it's being that person that's going to actually chase things that are difficult, chase things that are hard, because there's going to be so much more that comes out of it. One, that you're basically honing yourself, going through the fire. I mean, the sharpest and toughest of blades come through the forging process of the hottest fires and the most pressure. So if you want to be part of that, 5%, 1%, high elite individual, all you got to do is be somebody that chases hard things and refuses to give up and quit. And if you get if you fail, then you do all of that forward and you just keep going. And I think a lot of people aren't willing to do that.
Well, the people that are wanting to do it, but aren't willing to do the hard things, what can you tell them where they can at least take their first step in getting there?
Then you can do just micro things, right? You don't have to find something that's, incredibly catastrophic. Find something that puts you a little bit out of the comfort zone, and start small, and then progress and work yourself to harder and harder things. Because every time you go through something tough, it's just going to prepare you for whatever's coming down the pipe. Because the thing is that people spend too much time chasing comfort than they do actually chasing success and work as they should be doing to be productive and, being good folks. So it's just find something small. It could be, I don't know, even getting up and going to the gym, right? And it's start that and then go, all right, well, that worked one day. Now I'm going to go try it the other day. And the problem is that I think a lot of people, it's how they view things. If you look at the end and say, it's so far getting from where I am now to where I want to be, it's just overwhelming. Well, the thing is you have to break that down into little pieces. And we learned that in Hell Week. Cause if I'm sitting here at the beginning of Hell Week during breakout and I'm thinking about, securing at the end of the week, on Friday afternoon, it's a monumental task. But if I break things down into the known, what do I know is going to happen? And I know that I'm going to get fed 4 times a day. And I also know that the sun is going to rise and the sun is going to go down. That's 6 moments in a day right there that I can go, okay, I need to make it from morning chow to afternoon chow. Got it. Afternoon chow to evening chow. Oops, sun's going down. Cool. Now I got mid rats coming. That's awesome. Well, next thing I know, sun's going to come back up, and it's going one step by step to getting to your goal. But I think it's, set that long-term goal, but then have milestones to start going towards it. And if those milestones get increasingly more difficult, then next thing you know, you're going to be at the finish line looking back and going, that wasn't so bad. And then all you got to do is you're ready to level up and go after harder things. And you never know what you'll be able to accomplish if you just keep going.
Oh man, I love that of breaking down the larger goal into to milestones and bite-sized successes. I have a observation then a question for you, Tommy. So I got a guy at my jiu-jitsu gym. He one of my boys. He's a Marine, former Special Forces, I believe, recon. He's a sniper. He's just tough as nails. When I fight, he's like fire. When I fight him, he's smaller than me. He's just tough as nails. But what I noticed with him is when I fight this guy, there is a calm in the storm that I mimic. I noticed that about him. I could feel it from him when I fight him. His nervous system is flat, while everybody else is like, he's calm. And I've stole that from him. And so my question to you, when it comes to business people who watch this or marketers, when we are in the shit for business or something with marketing, spent a bunch of money, didn't get it back, that nervous system can start to really go there. And I notice, or I've learned from jiu-jitsu and my boy Nick to keep it flat, keep it, manage your nervous system. So my question to you is when things are getting hairy, whether it's business or in life, what do you do to stay calm?
Well, again, like I said, you just put yourself in more situations, and the more you're exposed to it, the better you're going to be at it. I mean, you go back to the days of the samurai and you learn from guys like, Miyamoto Musashi from the Book of Five Rings and whatnot, right? It's, the guy, he got humbled himself. He was big, he was strong, he was good at swordplay, but he got beat by people that were calmer than him. Well, what's that about? What does that mean? Well, the thing is I go to a biblical, fruits of the spirit. It's called self-control. You have emotions for a reason because you're supposed to be able to use them, but you can't let them control you. You have to be able to control them. All right. So that there's going to be some sort of a response to stress. Well, when people see that, it's the mentality of, I want to go to a place where I'm not feeling that. Well, if you flip the script and go to I'm going to go into a place exactly where I'm going to get that, but I'm going to breathe normal and I'm going to think clearly and rehearse what you do before you do it over and over and over again. And then you can do the visualization piece of actually running through the exact thing you're going to go do before you do it. You've already done it once. The more sets and reps that you get in, the easier it's going to be once you're actually in that fire. And then once you're in that fire, the more often you're there and the more, conscious effort that you take to control that environment or control yourself. You can't control the environment, but to control yourself within the environment, that's going to invite that calm in. And that's what's going to get you to the spot that you want to be at. And then next thing you know, in the fight, hey, if you're going full send, well, your adrenals can only take so much. You're going to gas out, right? Really, really quick, especially if you're talking about, in a ground game. But it's the people that are calm within that time frame. You stay loose. Your muscles don't get tight. You don't get tired so quick because you're not expending as much energy. And by doing so, that allows your mind to start thinking freely instead of thinking panic. you go through your procedures, whatever it is, right? I mean, it happened multiple times. Like I could say diving, I could say skydiving, all the stuff that, the difficult things that we did. Like we'll stick with diving, so emergency procedures. You run out of air. Something goes wrong with your tank or whatever, or, hey, I've just come up and I'm taking a tactical peek, but I've got a boat coming at me and it's going to end up propping me and killing me if I don't get underwater really, really fast. Well, if I panic, all my muscles are going to tense up. I'm not going to be able to have a good breath hold and I'm going to die. But if I look at it and go, okay, I know this is going to happen. Here are the things and steps that I need to do. I need to take a breath. I need to go under. I need to take 2 really, really big, pumps of water with my arms to go down. I need to do this with my gear. I need to clear my mask, and then I need to start breathing normally. And then slowly but surely I'll start to sink, and I'll do so in a manner where it won't create any type of bubbles or any type of waves. So they'll never even know that I was there. I'll look like a turtle that just went underwater, right? It's calm, it's cool, it's collected. And the more you put yourself through that with practice and procedures, the better off you're going to be. But the calmer heads will always prevail, right?
It's kind of one of those things like practice makes perfect. I like the way you describe that, practice and procedures, so you can prepare for when shit hits a fan. You know what to do. You might be scared, you might be almost in shock, but you instilled in your brain, here's what I do, and then you do it and you come out of it. And the next time you do it, it's easier. Now, I think, Tommy, you might, I'm going to go out on a limb here. Maybe it's not, but out of all the guests that we've had, you've probably, arguably, based on this resume, you've faced maybe the most adversity out of anybody. And somebody listening to this might say, well, you're a Navy SEAL, Tommy. It's easy for you. Like you just had it in you. It was not like you can do all this stuff, but I am a city boy who, grew up in the suburbs or something. Like I don't have the resiliency. Maybe take us through before you were resilient and give us like a specific instance that comes to mind of from your past, maybe that you can relate to this.
Right. Well, I mean, even by saying what you said, you just created an excuse, right? And excuses are going to lead you to failure. And all that is that's pride talking. You take a bite of humble pie and realize, you know what, man? I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like everybody else does. I don't have a cape. I'm not a freaking superhero. I'm just a freaking normal, dumb, idiot, crayon eating sinner from Texas, that just happened to put myself in a bunch of different positions. And yes, I failed, but I failed forward. Right. And I always tell people too, is that if you want to succeed, you're starting in a hole and there's a ladder. Every rung on that ladder that gets you out of the hole is a failure. And every one of those fails leads to you getting out of the hole, which is what? Success. But you have to start climbing, right? In order to get out of it. So as far as me, so like I said, I got bullied real bad when I was a kid. I grew to 6'4", it's my current height right now, when I was like 12, 13 years old. But I look like a white Steve Urkel. So I had the Coke bottle glasses. I was pencil thin. I was all legs, just gangly, but I was a lightning rod for bullying, right? And it wasn't cyber bullying like now you just push the off button and it goes away. I had to like change routes to school, how I went to class, things like that, because it was, I was getting tossed in dumpsters, beat down, multiple kids at a time in multiple different areas, right? Like I'd try to people try to drown me at the pool. Even in Boy Scouts, church choir, it was verbal, it was mental, it was physical, it was every direction you can think of. That's what I got. Right. And it got so bad to the point to where I was staring at the wrong end of a pistol. Right. So I wanted to end it. I didn't want to be around anymore. And I remember the shine at the end of the bullet as I was taking the slack out of the trigger. And that was the first time I heard the good Lord speak to me. And he says, "Stop, I got something for you." And it was an audible voice. I took the slack out of the trigger. I put the pistol down and I was scared to death because I had no idea what had just happened. And I was too dumb and prideful to realize at the time that was him talking to me and saying that he had a mission for me. So I put the weapon away and I embraced what would be a good old Marine Corps adage. And that was the beatings will continue until morale improves. So, so
writer downer.
Yeah, it's a thing, man. So it was a choice. You're always given a choice in everything that you do, in every instance, everything. And that's how you're going to react and how you're going to respond. I could have let that bullying, I could have believed it. I'd be dead today, or I could have, not fought back. I could have chosen to be weak. I could have chosen to go that route, but I didn't. I made a choice that I'm going to do the hard thing. I started taking martial arts where I took more beatings, embarrassingly in quite a few instances as well. But finally, about junior year of high school, I started fighting back against the guys that were hitting on me before. And I took down a pretty high end dude, that was in one of the gangs, because it was early 90s. So a lot of the three big ones had fled over from California to North Dallas, to where I was at. And we had a lot of gang violence and things like that going on. But, and one of them was with one of the local leader guys, whatever reason. Again, like, they're just trying to flex on the weak guy. And you look at it, that's nature, right? The lions and everybody, they're going after the gazelle that's weak, you know? But there's another one that I got from Louis Simmons at Westside Barbell that says, if you walk with the lame, you develop a limp. So I decided not to do that. I decided to get with the strong and start mirroring what that looked like. My family, the people that looked high in my family, were Marines, and looked highly upon. So I was like, if I'm going to get respect, I got to go do that. So I started join the Marine Corps, and that was it. But the thing is, man, is that I was the lowest of the low. I was, for lack of a better term, I was pond scum, man. I was getting beat on. I was getting bullied. If you want to call that a normal average Joe, I think I was less than average. The thing is I decided that through the grace of the good Lord, I was going to keep pushing because he had a mission for me. And that was it.
It's one hell of a story, Tommy. And there's a few things that stand out there. One of the things is, for me, Tommy, I am at my best and my strongest when I'm in touch with divinity. However, wherever you come from, whatever the religion is, I'm at my best. I'm in touch with that. You mentioned that a few times. Then you have a business called Divine Savagery, which I just love that name. So will you tell us about how you came up with that name and what Divine Savagery is?
Sure. It's a business that builds resilience, plain and simple. And it's done with a proprietary bunch of tactics, techniques, and procedures that I learned throughout 26 years as a military, and then all the hardships of my youth. So, and everything's in threes, right? And within the military. So I do it through speaking, I do it through teaching and coaching, and then through wellness instruction as well. So that's, mind, body, spirit. And then with the body, that's the strength side of the house, because I'm a power lifter on the side too. I like doing that. It's a fun time. But no, man, I was in a pretty gnarly workout at the teams. And it came, I was coming towards the end of my career, the twilight of my career. And I was like, man, I got to figure out what I'm going to do when I grow up. And I was like, okay, what's it going to be? And I said, well, I can't go work for anybody. I mean, I can, I just don't want to, because I knew that the mindset was going to be different, and I knew that it was probably not going to end well for me. So it's wisdom, right? So I was like, all right, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to live and die by your own sword and see what happens. So I started praying about it, right? And I was just got it in my head. It's like, all right, whatever I'm going to do, the only reason I am where I am is because of the saving grace of Jesus, man. And whatever I do, it's going to be for his glory, and to be able to bring as many people to the kingdom as I possibly can, because I want to see everybody in heaven, right? So I said, I got to be something that, God, you created me to be, and something that I need everybody else to be for you. And that's where the divine came from. It's like, we're going to be, we're chasing perfection, and the example that we had in Jesus, knowing that we're never going to get it, but it doesn't mean you don't stop trying, right? And then the savagery came from everything that I learned being a warrior, fighting in the military, and fighting my own demons, and fighting through life, fighting through everything, the bullying and everything like that, and all the other challenges that would be coming my way. So that's where Divine Savagery came from, is that, we're with the power of God, there ain't nothing without God, there's nothing that's impossible. So you got to keep pushing, you got to keep driving. And if that's if that's the engine driving you, man, you're going to be real surprised, and you're going to really enjoy what you're going to end up being able to do.
I want to also talk about how this divine savagery can be applied to small business or people who are working in the corporate world. But before I ask that question, I kind of want to linger a little bit more on the divine aspect of this. On this show, we're not afraid to talk about all that stuff. And you mentioned in your origin story about the voice of God coming to talk to you, and I'm wondering, has that voice come back, and what did it say?
No, absolutely. On many cases and forms, it has, man. One of which was trying to figure out when my time in the Marine Corps was coming to an end, and what is it that I was going to do next? And God comes through. If it's audible, it comes through visions, it comes through dreams, it comes through all time, sometimes through people, but mostly through the Word. As you're reading through the stories. That's what I call it, the living word. And that's what's so cool about it, is every time you read it, you're going to read it different, and something else is going to pop out as to how it is that, you're supposed to apply whatever it is that you're reading towards your life or the person that you're dealing with, or anything like that. But, I was, praying with my wife, and, I got this vision, man. And it was like, here's your goal. Here's what I was going to do. Cause it was, we prayed for all the doors to open, to go, all right, what is it that we're going to do next? Open the doors. Well, we kind of saw it as him showing off, cause like 5 or 6 different things opened up for possibilities. Right. So like there was a SWAT team spot that opened up, and they're like, hey, we want you to do this, this, and this. Okay, cool. Green Berets opened up. Delta came, CAG came calling. Like all this other stuff came happening. And I was like, holy cow, I don't know which one I'm supposed to be doing, or which direction I'm supposed to be going. So then it was, where do you direct your prayers? All right, God, close off all the doors that you don't want and open up the ones that you need me to go through, that I'm going to have the greatest effect, for your glory. And it was like almost instantaneously, I got this clear cut vision, man. I was awake. I was praying with my wife. Clear cut vision. It was crazy. I was on a beach, and the ground started shaking, and this massive gold trident comes up out of the beach, and it's just Satan. I mean, it's just like shockingly bright. And I was like, well, you can't get much clearer of a message than that. Right. So, we went full send, man. And, it took 2 months just to get in touch with the recruiter for Naval Special Warfare. But I think I called and emailed twice a day for 2 months straight before I got an email back that says, hey, I hear you're interested in Naval Special Warfare. I was like, well, you think? And then it was the funny thing is that once that, and it's so cool how God works, man. Once that call was made, it was the attack started coming. The enemy was putting up roadblocks, this, that, and the other. Oh, you're never going to do this. You're too senior in the Marines. There's no way that you're going to be able to do this. I remember the admin officer, when I went and told him I wanted to do an inter-service transfer, he goes, man, look here, I'm going to be real with you. I said, cool, please do. He goes, you have a better chance of counting the stars with your finger than you do transferring from the Marines to the SEALs. And I just looked at him and smiled and went, challenge accepted. So we started up the paperwork, started pushing things through, and there were a few more roadblocks there, but he put the right people in my life. My battalion commander at the time happened to work at Manpower and Reserve, and he knew the people that did inter-service transfers. So he made calls for me and said, hey, this guy needs to do this, start pushing this paperwork, because I was on a deadline. Because it was already an age waiver, because I was reaching the point to where I was getting to be too old. And sure enough, man, because he made those calls, paperwork got signed, got pushed through. We were good to go. And then there's an interview process too. Well, it just so happened that I grew up with a set of twins that ended up being pretty famous team guys. And one of them knew a whole bunch of high up folks. And he goes, hey, man, check it out. We put you in the book. So that's cool. Now, here's the deal. What we're going to do is we're going to set up these dominoes and get you the interviews. It's up to you to go knock them down, but we'll call up and say, hey, can you interview this guy? And then write a little something, something. So they set up some really interviews with some high up folks. They went well. I guess they liked the cut of my jib. And then that went into my package, man. And next thing you know, I'm standing on the quarterdeck of Buds getting ready to start training. So that was another time.
Damn, man. That's one hell of a story to get to, Buds, and I'm sure that that was just the beginning, right? Because there's more, there's a ton past that. And then I guess my question to you, if you don't mind, Tommy, is
Sure.
This could be anything. This could be in the business life, in the military life, personal life. We do a segment called Man in the Arena. It's the Roosevelt quote. But long story short, it's Dimitri, you sum it up better than me. Will you please sum it up for the audience?
Yeah, basically that it's not the critic who counts, it's the person who's actually doing the thing in the arena is the one who deserves the credit and the attention and the love.
So my man Tommy's been in several different arenas. Tommy, whichever you care to share, what is your man in the arena moment that stands out?
Well, it's funny, man. I've got so many, including the day I was saved, as I figured out that what Jesus really wanted me to do is, as I was getting baptized, and my wife and I got baptized together, is I was always scared of public speaking, scared to death of it. And that's like one of the biggest fears, I guess, around or something like that. And I came up out of the water just refreshed and rejuvenated and talking to the men to like, this is how you guys need to live. This is what you got to do. And here's your spot. And it's back up all the things that you say. And I got an opportunity to do so, right? Is so we go back to Buds, and we always said, hey, I'm going to go as hard as I can, and you're going to have to kill me if that's what's going to get me to quit. You'll have to kill me. So I broke my pelvis, the pubic rami bone, Thursday before Hell Week, and I ended up having to put my money where my mouth is. I went and got an X-ray, and sure enough, man, pubic rami bone was the little loops underneath your pelvis. It was snapped in half, and I looked at the doc, and he goes, hey man, this can go one of two ways. You can stop. We can medically discharge you. You can get out and be done. Thanks for playing. Or we can go a different route. Now, if you know the docs in the Navy, some of them have the opportunity to go serve with Marines within the Fleet Marine Force. And this was one of them. And he had a little paperweight that was Chesty, the bulldog mascot of the Marine Corps, as a paperweight, right? And he looked at me, and I looked back at him, and I said, all right, Doc, we'll take this militarily. What's the most dangerous course of action? What's the worst that could happen? He goes, well, if you lunge wrong on your leg with the boat over your head, or doing log PT in Hell Week or something like that, the bone could fracture, splinter off into the bundle of arteries and whatnot within your pelvis. You could sever them, and you could bleed out internally and die. I went, okay. I said, what's the most likely course of action? He goes, you're going to go through a lot of pain, but you'll make it. And that reminded me back to like Rocky IV. I'm pretty sure the trainer who was Apollo's old trainer that was training Rocky, it was the same thing. It's like, you're going to have to go through hell, but in the end, I know you're going to be the one standing, right? So the doc looked up at me and goes, what do you want to do? And I looked at him. And I said, well, what do you think I should do? Just to get his opinion. I already kind of had an idea, but he didn't say a word. He just took that Chesty bulldog and laid it right in front of me, crossed his arms, and then just looked me in the eyes. And I was like, all right, I'm picking up what you're putting down. Sign that paper. Let's go. So I went through Hell Week with a broken pelvis. It was a 5.5 day, it was 5.5 day prayer session. And I put my money where my mouth is, man.
Yeah, that's intense. Let's relate this back into from the battlefield to the conference room. Extreme situations to, let's say, less extreme, relatively speaking, but also extreme situations in everyday life.
Right.
So what's one habit that you teach that people can do tactically day to day, or 5 minutes or less, something like that?
Okay. Honestly, man, a lot of this comes with perspective. It does, but how you think about things and how you go about stuff is going to dictate how the rest of your day goes. The moment the alarm clock goes off or your eyes open up, you are now faced with a choice, and that's the fight of the day. How are you going to approach the day? If you look at it with some sort of negative attitude, and that's what the enemy's going to do, it's bad thoughts are going to come into your head. I want to stick around, I'm not going to take a shower. I don't want to go to the gym. Oh, I'm hurting, blah, 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 blah. You have to make an active choice to stay in the fight and be in that daily fight and make it a positive one. And the more positive that you can reroute your neural pathways in the beginning, I definitely recommend prayer, but I wake up in the morning and I pray and put on the full armor of God, man, from Ephesians 6:11. And I literally close my eyes, pray, and see myself putting on all the armor, and then the sword of the Spirit. I've got the Bible right there as my weapon against the enemy, and that always starts me out in a positive way and gets my day going. So no matter what's going to come my way, because the enemy's out there, and they're going to try. The life is going to try to beat you to your knees. But the thing is that how are you going to respond? You have to make the choice to respond in a manner that is going to get you through whatever it is. If you're nervous about something, that's fear, false evidence appearing real, right? But at the same time, you got to face your fears and you got to chase your fears. But you have to make the conscious effort. So make the conscious effort to chase your fears or whatever it is. And a lot of times that can be curtailed by preparation. If it's a meeting you're scared of, it's a person you're scared of. Look, check this out, man. It ain't going to kill you. It could always be worse. 100 times worse, 1,000,000 times worse. It could always be worse. There are people out there suffering in ways that you can't even imagine, right? And you're sitting here worried about a meeting or a business deal. Come on, man. Come on. Like, be glad you're in air conditioning. How about that? Let's start with one, that you're wearing clothes and you have the ability to be able to present yourself in a way that someone is going to do that. And here's the thing. Does the approval of this individual matter? Absolutely not. Right? So check it out. With that, go into it, believe in that and knowing that. You prepare, you do the right thing, you get ready to rock and roll, and go attack it with everything you got. If it works, cool. If it doesn't, fine. Find out what it is that you messed up on, and then get ready to go for next time and start attacking.
It's so good. Tommy, with Divine Savagery, the work that you do, which we're going to put in the show notes, and so everybody can check out and know how to get a hold of you. But tell us who you help and what you do for them.
Well, the funny thing is, man, I think it makes me a horrible businessman, but I don't have a demographic. I will absolutely help absolutely anybody because that's what Jesus did. I don't care who you are, sick, lame, lazy, most successful, tier 1, top shelf, 100 Fortune 1. I don't care I don't care if you're Elon. I don't care. It don't make no never mind. Fact of the matter is that I'm going to be able to help you, get you fired up, get you going in a direction, help teach them from a servant leadership perspective. And then with the strength training as well, dude, I got you for whatever you need in resilience, and everybody needs a little bit of something. I'm happy to help you out.
We're going to get you to drop it where people can contact you. But before we had this show, I looked you up on Instagram. And I told Dimitri, this guy looks like a strong man from the freaking 90s. This is like somebody who could rip a freaking phone book open. So right. If you're looking for strength stuff, or rip a phone book in half, I should say. But the strength is most definitely there. But Dimitri, go ahead with all the contact stuff, please.
Yeah, Tommy. So if you don't mind letting us know whether it's Elon or just, and you started the show off with saying that we're missing a lot of leadership from men these days. And I think a lot of men realize that about themselves, but they don't know where to start. And they're listening to this and they're like, okay, maybe Tommy can help me get started. How should they contact you?
So you can go to the website, www.divinesavagery.com. It's under construction, but you can still get a hold of me, via the contact info. Tommy@divinesavagery.com is the email. Look me up, Tommy Richardson on LinkedIn. I do most of my work there, as far as encouragement for folks in business. Facebook, Tommy Richardson. And then, for Instagram, it's @raise.your.horn or, @divine_savagery.
And should they just send you a DM?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Contact me. I'll hit you right back.
Okay, cool. So we're going to put all those profile links into the show description. Also, if you want the show notes, get in the description and get on our newsletter. We have the show notes going out with every single episode every week. And we're getting great feedback on those notes. So you should get on it. Chris, do you have anything before we wrap here?
Tommy, I had to ask before we let you go. What part of Texas are you from, brother?
So I was born in Beaumont, and then down Southeast Texas, down the swamps, and then I migrated up north to Denton area, North Dallas.
Yeah, I was in South Dallas when I moved from Austin to South Dallas, and I'm here in the Keller area, so familiar with that. When you were saying North Dallas, I was wondering where you were at.
Denton. It was Denton. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yep. I know Keller.
Yeah. All right. I was also in Dallas for a little bit, but I won't consider myself a Dallas guy. I'm not from there. So, and I left early. Anyway, Tommy, thank you so much for being on the show, dropping the wisdom of not just 26 years in the military and special forces, but the resilience that comes with it, and then translating it into the real world also. I think there's a lot of people who hear what you're gonna, or are going to hear what you're saying, and want a piece of that. So you guys just reach out, drop them a message, send them an email, whatever it is. Just get a hold of them. If this calls out to you, you should follow through with that. And so, Tommy, man, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate you.